Welcome to Siren Sound Off. I am here with my right-hand man, Casey. We have Dennis, Dave, and Scott on Skype with us, and we are on Facebook Live for the first time since all the other ones just weren't working out for us. Say hi, everybody.
Hello.
Hello.
Nice.
Three Stooges.
So, what we're going to start out with, let's start with Dennis. Let's start with Survivor Series. Let's start with Team Raw beating SmackDown. Do you want to take? Who wants to take on this one?
Oh, I will.
Surprise
go
or no?
Surprise? What?
Well, it's not really a surprise.
Shocked.
I think we predicted the ending with Charlotte and Bayley being the sole survivors.
I think so. Yeah. I just this was so disappointing for me. Like, I don't know. I feel like they had so much they could have done with this match, and it was just awful. Like, all around. The girls had time, and they just squandered it, and I'm still angry how Nia Jax got eliminated. I think it just completely ruined her character, and I just felt like they buried her and the SmackDown girls, and I just wasn't a fan, and I was really defeated after watching that match, I feel.
I did not like the way Nia was eliminated for sure. I thought up until her elimination, I thought her role in the match was very well done. And then to see her tap so quickly to a submission from Becky was kind of a letdown. Overall, though, I wasn't all that disappointed with the match. I ultimately knew Raw was going to win because Charlotte can't lose. But aside from that, I was okay with the match.
I thought they gave Natty something to do for the first time in forever. I thought she looked pretty good in the match.
Yeah.
I agree with that.
No, she definitely did.
She was definitely a highlight.
Although Sasha tried to kill her a couple times with some knees and stuff, but that looked a little brutal. But yeah, I thought the match was alright. I mean, yeah, I agree with all of you. With the Nia elimination was stupid. It should have been a count out or a DQ or something.
Definitely.
I mean, they should have protected her a little bit more, but I mean, it set up some storylines. So, you know, Alexa looked good. Carmella getting the first elimination, I thought. I was dead sure either Naomi or Alicia was going to get the first elimination, but it was Carmella, so that was a little surprising. But yeah, I mean, it was alright. It wasn't anything to write home about. It didn't steal the show by any means, but it was. I don't think it was terrible.
Well, it couldn't steal the show when we have an 81-second main event with such an amazing match that we were all looking forward to and can't stop talking about. And in my case, it's the Lizzie McGuire movie. But in your case, it was Goldberg versus Lesnar. So, I have to agree with what everybody's been saying, though. Yeah, the match was fine. I'm not a big fan of the booking. I think across the board, I kind of had issues with the booking, in all honesty. I did like the Nikki getting attacked angle because it gave a storyline, which last week I was saying I always hate Survivor Series matches because they usually don't give us anything to go off of. And this kind of did, so I'll give them that. However, like, I just felt like who was pinning who didn't make sense to me. I didn't understand the Nia Jax elimination. I didn't really get Sasha Banks being rolled up the way that she was after the way she's been built. Like, it was just across the board very weird to me on that booking, and that was my only issue with the match, was it just didn't seem to make sense.
I feel like it was like the rough draft copy of like the script. That's how I felt it was.
Yeah,
at least there wasn't a whole bunch of roll-up finish eliminations. That was a nice surprise.
Yeah, true.
So who do we think attacked Nikki? What are our guesses?
I hope it's Eva Marie.
Yes.
I feel like they kind of set it up for it to be Natty to get her in the match.
Yeah.
To get in the match. I mean, that seems the most obvious, so they probably won't do that because it's too obvious. But I don't think it was anybody else on the team.
Whenever all the girls were just kind of waiting for Nikki to come out, and her music never did, Charlotte had this really devious look on her face. So part of me wonders if they're going to set up some kind of future Raw versus SmackDown angle for the women, and have it be someone from Team Raw.
But, I mean, that's Charlotte's bad acting, but...
Well, that could be. That could be, too.
But it definitely could be, like, a future WrestleMania match, I feel.
I hope it's Emma. Because I don't care.
Are you kidding me? Emma is not returning. Her promos will be still played a year from now.
I don't know. I feel like, to me in my head, no answer is really that exciting unless if it's Eva Marie. But really, what does Eva Marie get out of doing that? It's one of those things that, like, I don't see any option where I'm like, oh, I hope it's this. Like, I think the only way that will get me relatively excited about it is if in this no DQ match that just got announced between Carmella and Nikki is if the person who actually attacked Nikki interferes. That's going to be the only way I care.
Yeah, I think they kind of set up something with that, with the no DQ, so someone can interfere. I'm excited to see what happens.
Eva Marie did it for The Rock.
Yes. Maybe it's a returning Tamina.
Oh, that'd be good. I'd buy that.
Me too. Fingers crossed.
I would actually prefer that over Eva Marie.
Oh no, all Eva Marie everything.
All red everything.
I want it to be Eva Marie's voiceover guy, and like he can be her manager now, like an actual manager. That would be great.
That would be great.
So what do we think about the, what was it, when Charlotte attacked Bayley? Are we excited for that storyline, or
no?
Same old, same old?
Same old, same old.
I mean, they're already building to it previously, so I feel like it's not like something new. I mean, you knew that was going to be the next feud for Charlotte coming out of it, so...
Wake me up when this ends.
Oh my gosh, no, I'm actually really excited. But y'all know I just like Raw way more than SmackDown. In all honesty, though, the reason why I have a problem with it is we get Charlotte attacking Bayley, which is relatively new because it's not Sasha. And then on Raw, we get Sasha versus Charlotte. And so my response is, what's the fucking point? Like, why are we here? And it's just WWE being WWE, so we'll see what the hell happens.
And you know Charlotte's gonna win because it's a TV match and not a pay-per-view.
Right.
Duh.
This cycle needs to stop. It's getting...
But Sasha can beat her on Raw. She can't beat her on pay-per-view.
No, never. Ugh.
The only thing that I'm even remotely excited about is for the potential for Bayley to have like a 28-day run with the belt before it goes back to Charlotte.
Oh, God.
I'm more excited for the potential of Sasha Banks versus Nia Jax, which we'll get to at Raw.
Hopefully it happens.
But we know Sasha can sell, and so it'll be real good.
Oh, yeah.
Or she'll literally die.
One or the other.
One or the other. Whatever works.
Were you guys surprised by any of the eliminations, or was it just...
I think Nia's was the most surprising.
Yeah, I agree.
The way she tapped out, like, why?
And Alicia not getting eliminated first.
Yeah, I think
Which
I'm
we all
most
guess
shocked
would
about
happen.
Carmella getting eliminated. I was like, wait a minute, what?
I know, I was like, what?
I mean, kudos to Foxy for making it past one.
And her attire was so good. I loved it.
I thought
Took out Carmella, wasn't it?
it was
Alicia.
Alicia.
Yeah.
Which I think is the biggest shock of it all is they let Alicia get a fall. Like, what?
I know.
All about it. I support it.
I did think the Raw team as a group looked much more like a team gear-wise than the SmackDown team did.
I thought everyone's gear except Nia's looked fine. It bothered me that...
Oh, God, Nia wearing that t-shirt was
yeah.
bad.
It was awful.
Raw t-shirt. So
But
good.
her regular gear isn't that good to begin with.
Accurate.
No, but she has, like... She'll wear her regular gear and there'll be, like, a little bit of blue, a little bit of purple. She couldn't add, like, red. Like, come on
True.
now.
I just love how even Dana Brooke came out in that Beth Phoenix old gear with red. Like, I feel like Nia Jax should have been able to pull something.
Natty even had a little blue in her, so...
Yeah, the blue and purple.
Yeah, like...
From even the looks, though, you could just, like, see that Raw was going to win this. Like,
oh my gosh.
Literally, Helen Keller rolled in her grave and was like, Raw's going to win.
Did anyone see Nia Jax's eye makeup, though? What the hell was that?
Oh, I was too busy watching her try to run. I'm sorry. I missed it. Because she, almost missed a rope at one point, and I was like, oh. And then it was okay. It was fine.
What a mess.
But yeah, Nia Jax in that t-shirt reminded me of, when you see people on the side of the road picking trash, and they're, on community service, and they have those awful yellow and orange vests on. That was bad.
Oh, I'm done.
Let's move on.
Let's move on from news. Let's go to what we all love, the Indies. Let's start with Carmella Jacobs announcing her retirement.
She faced off against Kaylee Ray and Viper for the ICW Women's Championship at the Hydro I think it's in Glasgow, right?
Mm-hmm. I think so.
Okay, yeah, and after it, she took to the mic and, thanked everyone, and later on, she let it be known that it was actually her last match, and she is now officially retired. And I'm kind of shocked. I feel like, she's been on the UK independent scene, and she's been a name, and I'm just kind of shocked she ended it, She's a good worker.
I was very surprised to see her retire. I'm very disappointed because she was one person that I always really, really hoped would get a shot in the States, even if it's just a Shimmer weekend or a WSU show or something, just something to get her some exposure over here. She was my one holdout, my one hope. But kudos to her on retiring on her own and not just because she had to.
Definitely.
Yeah, her post was definitely very emotional and definitely very heartfelt. And so clearly it was something that wasn't just a brash decision and was definitely something that was well thought out on her part. And so I absolutely agree with Scott that it's nice that she was able to retire on her own terms. At that same token, though, I really just felt like especially me, looking at the UK scene really only for the past year, is something that I just wanted to see more of her, and so it's unfortunate that that's not going to happen, and so selfishly, I'm sad about it. But all the respect to her, she has garnered a couple of championships while she was there, and definitely became a staple in the UK scene, so definitely a tip of the proverbial hat to her.
Definitely.
I agree.
So let's move on to the WSU results, and we're going to hand it over to Dave, please.
Yeah, so I was at WSU Breaking Barriers 4. It was a pretty sparse crowd. I would say maybe less than 100, 50 to 100 in that range. I don't know, this show was kind of a mess. They had a bunch of issues. It opened up late, which is no strange thing to happen because every WSU show opens up late. But they had this they were trying to do this video screen thing. They were testing it out all through the pre-show, before the show, and they just scrapped it because they couldn't get it to work. And it's they had lighting issues during the show. At one point during one of the matches, the sound stopped working, so they didn't have intros and they didn't have music for one match. Mm-hmm. So it was kind of a mess from a technical point of view.
I noticed that on, nobody said anything. They kept saying it was going to be an pay-per-view, and then they had a stream up, and then it suddenly was gone, and I don't know, production-wise, it seemed a mess.
They've almost every, I don't know what it is about the venue at the Skate Zone in Voorhees, but they always especially WSU, always seems to have streaming issues. So I think to prevent that, they just decided to do it on a tape delay. If you go to highspots.com, they do have it right now up for $15. You can watch it. Or you can wait for it to be on the CZW Studios site for $9.99 a month. It'll be on there probably within the next week or so. But yeah, it's just, WSU's always had bad luck with iPay-per-views. They've always had. I remember there was one show like a year and a half ago where they couldn't even do the iPay-per-view because they apparently had the internet connection was plugged into the wrong socket or something, so they didn't even do it. So they just always have been snake bitten, whether it's talent cancellations, technical issues, weather. I don't know. It's just they've always been snake bitten. But the show itself, like the women did good. It's just all these technical issues just made it kind of like ugh. But as far as the matches, Priscilla Kelly won her three-way match against Penelope Ford and Renee Michelle. She looked good. She's obviously someone we've talked about the last few weeks, being an up-and-coming, and she's doing really well. Between Shine and WSU, she's doing really well, and she's definitely on the rise. Penelope Ford is just part of this whole thing now with the Fella Twins and Maria Manic. Jamie Siegel, I think his name is.
Jamie Senegal?
Senegal, yeah.
Yeah.
It's like, they're all pledges for the Fella Twins, and it's funny, but man, it's like this whole big, like, group now. It's not, she did alright, but the Fella Twins were ringside just yelling at her the entire match, which, was kind of weird, but, so Priscilla won, she was good. Bailspin defeated the Sinister Sweethearts, which is Samantha Heights and Brittany Blake. They had a cool finisher combo, which was like a flatliner and like a stroke from Just Jarrett's stroke kind of thing. That was cool. So Bailspin's kind of been on a roll. They seem to be regulars now at WSU, which is cool because they definitely need more tag teams. So they're over with the crowd. Kiera Hogan and Britt Baker had a really good match. It was really short, though. It was like less than 8 minutes, probably. But they had a really, really good match in that time. Kiera Hogan went over Britt Baker. I think this was Britt Baker's best match in WSU. I think it was better than her debut match. So this is, again, I think Britt Baker and Kiera Hogan have definitely earned themselves a spot on the roster going forward because that was a really, really good match. Mercedes defeated Lufisto, which was expected, but I was kind of disappointed in that match because I was really expecting this to be the match of the night, and it was good, but it wasn't what I guess my standards are too high for those two. It was alright, but it felt flat. It didn't have that emotion that their other matches had. But Mercedes won, so I have to think that makes her number one contender for Ali's Cherry Bomb's title now at the next show, whenever that is, probably in February, I would have to guess. So that was decent, but it could have been better. Jade defeated Taylor Hendricks, which was a really weird match, because I don't know if you saw the promos leading up to the show, but Jade had this whole thing where she wasn't getting paid, she didn't get paid by DJ, so she was complaining. So she shows up to the show, she comes to the match, she's not in regular gear. She's in sweatpants and a sports bra top, and she didn't get dressed. And she had the match against Taylor Hendricks, and it was just weird. It was a short match, and she beat Taylor Hendricks after a powerbomb. But Taylor Hendricks had her hand on the rope, and the ref didn't see it. I don't know if that was on purpose, if that was planned, or if the ref just didn't see it, and the match just kind of ended. It just felt like whatever. It was just a weird match. You'd think between those two it would have been a really good match, but the way it was booked was just weird. It was like a forgettable match, which is just odd. You're going to bring Jade all the way from Florida and you book her in that kind of a match. I just don't get it. The Fella Twins defeated the Backseat Girls. It was typical shenanigans from the Fella Twins. This was, I think, Annie and Missy Sampson's first tag match in about 2 years, almost 3 years probably. So that was kind of a reunion, but it didn't last because at the end of the show, I'll explain more. But after that, you had the main event. You had Sue Young defeat Leva Bates, and she is now the new Spirit Champion. Leva came out as the Enchantress from the, what movie is that? The Suicide Squad movie. So that was cool. She did a whole elaborate entrance and stuff, and they had a really good match. I wish it was in front of a bigger crowd, though, but they had a fun match. But afterwards, there was a big brawl with, Su Yung, Mystic Leva, got the pin. She's the new champ. After that, Sinister Sweethearts came out, Veilspin came out, and then Annie and Missy Sampson came out, and then for whatever reason, Annie turns on Missy Sampson, and now Annie Social is aligned with Chrissy Rivera and Brittany Blake and Samantha Heights and Su Yung, and they're now called The Reckoning. So it's this whole big group. So you got two big heel groups. It's starting to turn into Shine, it feels like. But so that was kind of like, the big ending of the whole show. So the show ran about 2 hours total, including an intermission. I don't know. I mean, the girls did their best, but the booking is just weird, and the technical issues didn't help, and the small crowd didn't help. So, the main event was fun, and like I said, Kiera Hogan and Britt Baker had a really good match, but I don't know if I can recommend it, because it seemed like a forgettable show, to be totally honest, other than the title change.
I feel like that's a lot of the case with WSU shows as of late.
Like, I can't blame the talent, they did their best, but it's just...
It's hard.
It's unfortunate. It's just...
Yeah.
I remember, 2012 WSU was, top. That was, a top women's promotion. People talked about it, and, I just remember, I actually think I went to Click Wrestle and bought, that War Games match.
Yeah.
From that year, because it was just good, and the storylines were there, and it was booked well, and the production value was at least acceptable to watch, and it's really unfortunate to see where WSU is at. It's really unfortunate.
I feel like their talent roster is a lot better than it was 4 years ago, but yeah, 4 years ago you didn't have much in women's wrestling. You had Shimmer, you didn't have Shine yet, because they just started in 2012. So, in the beginning of 2012, you had Shimmer, which only ran twice a year. You had WSU, and then you had Femme Fatales, which was in Montreal, so it wasn't that known.
Oh, no, yeah.
So now you have Shine, you have Queens of Combat. You just have a lot more women's wrestling going on now. So there's a lot more competition. But yeah, it's just like they book the right talent, they just don't use them well. It sucks. It really does.
It definitely does. I remember WSU used to be the woman's show you didn't want to miss, and now it's kind of oh, I can miss this. I don't need to watch this, It's sad.
One of the things that I said on our podcast last week about the WWE roster, I think applies to WSU as well. In the past, talent was lacking, but the storylines were good enough to make us care about the promotion. Today, the talent is obviously there. It's just missing something. We just don't connect with the people that are wrestling. And it's weird to see that.
Yeah, like I said, that Mia Yim match was just so weird to me. It seemed like such a waste of talent. I expected so much more from that match, and I don't know. I heard something about Taylor Hendricks might have been slightly injured or something going into that match. Someone was saying in the crowd, but I don't know. She wrestled fine, but it's just why would you make a booking choice to have a wrestler basically not care? Why? What is that helping? That doesn't get you to want to watch the show anymore. It's and Mia Yim's supposed to be the baby face. It didn't make any sense to me. But, Su Yung winning was a little surprising, so that was interesting. And that, honestly, Su Yung and Leva Bates have had a good feud in WSU. They work well together. They know each other well. They've wrestled a bunch of, times against each other in other promotions in Florida and stuff. So, they work well. So, that's a fun feud. Annie Social turning heel is a little interesting because, she's, ever since Kimberly left, she's kind of just been there. So this at least gives her something to do. So I don't mind that. but they're not really building up the baby faces that well. So, it's like I said, it reminds me of Shine a lot. You have these big heel factions, and really no baby faces to really step up to them.
Yeah, and the tag team with the faces is really low. It's just Bailspin now, right?
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, because you got the Sinister Sweethearts, they're heel. You got
the
Fella Twins, they're heel. Other than Bailspin, I could see maybe Leva and Jade being a team again. I could see them teaming up. But at the end of the show, Mia Yim wasn't involved in that, so I don't know. It feels like the next show is going to have a big, 8-woman tag or something. That feels like what they're going towards, like a big kind of War Games type thing. But I don't know what they're going to do. But, Allie not being on the show, I think, hurt it, too. Because, she's the champion and she's not on your show.
Right.
It would be really interesting to set up a big multi-person tag match like that. Because the WSU shows that they run are very lean on the number of talent. So if you put 8 women in the main or semi-main event, what is that going to leave for the rest of the card?
True. Because they don't have a lot.
I get what you're saying, but at that same token, what you have to hope for is something like Shimmer, in the sense of when you don't have all the talent that you might not be used to, you have to hope that your undercard will step up. And you have to hope that there's some kind of development there. That's your opportunity for your Priscilla Kellys, your Britt Bakers, your Kiera Hogans to become kind of a name, to become kind of in line for the Spirit title, which is WSU's kind of second title to their main title. And that is what it previously used to be, was a way for people on the undercard who weren't going to be in that main event spot to have something to kind of fight over and something to develop. And that's where that opportunity has to come. But it comes down to booking that talent and booking that talent well, which if they're doing what they just did on this show, not going to happen.
And I also think it's hard for the talent to want to do well when they're wrestling in front of, 20, 30 people in an event that's basically a pre-show to CZW. You know what I mean?
Right.
Yeah. I think part of the reason the crowd was small, too, is that CZW show that afterwards wasn't really loaded either. So I feel like because that wasn't a big show for CZW, I feel like that hurt. I think if that show was better, maybe more people would have stuck around and came early for WSU. But they've had some decent sized crowds for some of their shows, but not this one.
Yeah.
So let's talk about the Queens of Combat at WrestleCade that's happening this Sunday. Looks like we have a pretty decent card for that event.
Yeah, there's Kelly Klein and Deonna Purrazzo versus D&D Muscle Factory, which is Darcy Dixon and Miss Dyslexia. I haven't watched much Queen of Combat, but I'm excited for Deonna to be involved in that.
Yep.
And
Kelly and Deonna's a neat, interesting tag team.
Yeah.
I agree.
And then Ronnie Nicole versus Thunder Kitty. I think this is one of Ronnie's returning matches from Japan. I know she wrestled at Rise, but I haven't seen much of her in the States since returning from Japan.
She's done the last couple of Queens of Combat shows.
Yeah? Cool. And then I'm really excited about this match. Rachel Ellering versus Laurel Van Ness.
It's Laurel Van Ness.
Whatever. Rachel is just amazing, and Chelsea always delivers, and it's always nice to see her outside of TNA because she actually gets to do stuff.
Because she's not in TNA.
Exactly.
Just call it what it is.
True.
Casey.
And then Samantha Heights takes on Angel Rose, Nevaeh. Oh, go ahead.
The Samantha Heights Angel Rose match, I think out of the entire card, is the one that I'm most looking forward to see.
Yeah.
Those are two girls that are going to be big.
I'm excited to see how they mesh with each other, because I know Angel Rose is more of like a high-flying type, and Samantha, I don't really see her do a lot of high-flying moves, but she's really an exciting talent to watch. Nevaeh takes on Ariel Monroe. Leva Bates and Solo Darling take on Devin Nicole and Savannah Evans. Jade takes on Kennedy Brink. And in the main event, Taylor Hendricks defends her Queens of Combat title against Su Yung.
Su Yung. Can we just talk about that? That is the name that is popping up everywhere. And I called it. Su Yung is my fangirl of the week because everybody knows that I fangirl for a couple of minutes. But let's be real here. Su Yung and this, I meant to say this in the WSU spot, and we just kind of got sidetracked. But I love that Su Yung is the Spirit champ now in WSU because I think they built that relatively well. I think it's the one thing they did kind of build. And I would love to see Su Yung beat Taylor Hendricks. She also has just been picking up more and more things. She's just becoming such a name. I would love to see Su Yung add more gold to her waist.
I agree with that. I really hope Su Yung wins this. I feel like they've been building her up on these shows. And I feel like it's time. Taylor's had the belt for a while. I think she was the first champion when they did their tournament. Yeah. It's time to put the belt on someone else.
Agreed. And I think Su Yung is the one they should put it on.
I agree. Yep.
Absolutely. All the gold. Whatever she wants. Just give it to her.
Everything for Su Yung.
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, you can't say she hasn't worked hard the last couple of years.
It's so amazing to see how far she's come. From Sonya and FCW to now, it's so amazing.
In Queens of Combat, Su Young's a babyface, right?
I believe so.
I think so.
Yeah. It's interesting how she can make this character, this dark, zombie-like character, a babyface or a heel so easily.
Yeah, I think she's almost running at this point the same version of the character in Queens of Combat that she is in Shine. But it's not quite as dead and dark, but still kind of that off-kilter person.
Definitely.
But yeah, it's a pretty interesting show. Queens of Combat, though, is kind of one of those under-the-radar promotions that you don't hear a lot of. They run a lot of shows, but you never really hear much about them.
Right, and I think that's sad because I think a lot of their shows are available at the Women's Wrestling Network. Right?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. And I have a subscription to that service, and that's a great place to spend $10 a month. They have tons of stuff on their website.
Definitely. And they added the Girl Fight stuff, too, as well recently, I think.
Yeah, the Girl Fight's on there, the Queens of Combat stuff's on there, WSU's on there.
And I really like their Diva Diaries.
Yes, I agree.
The Deonna Purrazzo one's really good if you want to check one out. I'm just saying. Just saying.
Let's see. So let's pick out our Indie Girl of the Week, Casey.
Okay, we just talked about her, but Su Yung is my Indie Girl of the Week. She won the Girl Fight title and the WSU Spirit title, and she's everywhere. She's doing the damn thing, and if you aren't a fan, what the hell is wrong with you?
Literally, what the hell is wrong with you?
Scott, who's your pick?
Mine is my honorable mention from last week. I'm going to go with Priscilla Kelly. She's someone that really has been getting her name out there. She's starting to show up in Shine. She's starting to show up in WSU. At the first Roar show, which is through, I think, Atlanta Wrestling Entertainment, she's going against Tessa Blanchard, which should be a great match. Priscilla Kelly, she's one to watch.
Nice. Dave?
I'll go with Samantha Heights, because I saw her at WSU, and we talked about how she had a killer Shimmer weekend last weekend, and she's got this Queens of Combat match coming up. So she's getting her name out there. I mean, she's getting in almost every promotion you can think of. So she's doing a really, really good job. The last 12 months, she's just become just a name. I mean, she went from being this obscure Midwestern wrestler that basically was doing these girl fight shows and not much else. And now she's on all these major promotions. So it's pretty cool to see her rise. And she's a cool chick to talk to at shows and stuff. And She's I don't know, she's just got a cool vibe to her, so she's definitely one to watch. So she's my indie girl of the week.
And last but not least, Dennis.
Yeah, so I'm going to go outside of the U.S. this week. I am pulling someone who has been popping up on my Twitter feed a lot for matches that are coming up that I think are really exciting. This person has been over in Stardom, signed a Stardom contract, is the current SWA champion. I'm taking Toni Storm this week, who is absolutely impressive. If you haven't seen a Toni Storm match, she's one that I suggest you put in the YouTube search. I caught my first glimpse of Toni Storm recently. She teamed up with Pollyanna against Ginny, personal favorite, Laura DiMatteo, who was Elizabeth at the time. And they had an incredible tag match there. Like, they had some really great spots that came off really well. And Toni Storm's just very, very impressive and has this natural charisma behind her. She's going to be facing Rosemary in the near future. I believe it's on December 2nd over in Germany. She's going to be defending the SWA World title against Alex Windsor on the 4th. And she is in the Progress women's title tournament going against B. Priestley on December 11th. So a lot of things coming up for Toni Storm, especially if you're into the UK scene. Definitely somebody to watch.
Definitely. She's amazing. There's a reason why she was given a Stardom contract.
Absolutely, and there's a reason why they put the title on her real quick. And she's absolutely just so charismatic and really great to watch in the ring.
Yeah, she's great.
Nice. So let's move on from the indies and let's talk about NXT TakeOver Toronto. Let's talk about the Mickie James match. Do we think we'll see her again in WWE? And our thoughts on the match.
I hope we see her again.
Oh, God, I really hope she comes back. She did great.
She did really well.
And I especially if you watch the videos, like the before the show videos they posted, and then the interview they posted after the match, you can just tell she was overwhelmed. Like, she really enjoyed the moment, and you can tell she really, really wanted to be there, and she appreciated everything, and and the match itself was really, really good. I don't think it was the best NXT women's match ever, but it was solid, and I mean, I think it's one of Asuka's best matches so far. I think she really held up well against her.
Definitely. I think this was the one Asuka match where I felt like she might lose, and it was exciting. It wasn't like, oh, well, she's going to win, so why bother getting invested? It was fun to watch, and it was fun to see Mickie James back.
Yeah, I think it's really interesting, and I think, especially with where we're at in NXT, which a lot of people know my opinions on NXT, I thought that this was as well built as it could have been, and it delivered in match quality. The things that I had issues with was commentary. There was like a line in there about like Mickie James picks it right back up, or like she lost it and got it back or something, like as if Mickie James hasn't still been wrestling for the past 6 years since she hasn't been in a WWE ring, like, which I just had a problem with, because WWE is now coming past this point where they're not afraid to mention like Japan shows and not afraid to mention outside companies and not afraid to talk about that anymore, and realizing that the fans know that there are other things besides the WWE, but yet you put Mickie James in a ring and we pretend that she just didn't exist for 6 years.
Dennis,
and now she's back.
And I
had a problem with that.
Are we forgetting she died in TNA?
Oh, shit.
She got run over by a train.
No, she got pushed, and people called the police about it. And, like, let's be fucking real here. That's where we were at. You're so right, and I apologize. TNA creative at its finest.
But
it's just,
I blame part of that on the crowd. The crowd was the one who chanted, "You still got it." And I said on Twitter, as soon as I heard that, it's like, she never lost it. She never, like, I mean, she did take a little bit of a break when she had a kid, but I mean, it's not like she took years off. And I mean, she's never had a bad streak, so it's not like she was like terrible for a while. I mean, it's just so. I mean, I thought the NXT crowd would be a little bit smarter. I assume they are, but maybe some of them aren't. I don't know. Maybe NXT is too mainstream now, so it's it's like they don't watch anything else or something. But yeah, I mean.
And it started with the crowd. You're right, Dave. But commentary, just let that go, and I had an issue with that. And so, especially because they put her in here, and they were like, she's coming back for the NXT Women's Championship, and she's been doing things, but, that would have been a time for commentary to have done something about that. And I just felt like it lost a little bit of it for me. That, and I had a problem with the end of the match, only because it was very sudden, which I think, Scott, it was you on Twitter that was like, a lot of these matches are just ending very suddenly. And that was real. All of a sudden, she just tapped, and I was like, oh. I thought you were almost getting out of this, and then you tapped. Okay. So it was just, the end was weird for me.
I felt that, too.
I thought the match was really good. I thought her match against Asuka at TakeOver was better than the match she had against Nicole Matthews at Shimmer last weekend. I thought it was one of the better matches that we've seen of Asuka since she won the belt. I liked that it showed that Asuka's not invincible. That a challenger has the potential to take the belt off of her. She looked great in the ring. I'm not a huge Mickie James fan, but she really looked great in the ring. I don't know necessarily if I want to see her back. It's kind of a we've been there, done that type of thing. But I thought it was a really good match.
I did. Okay, good. All right. I thought the ending was a little. I feel like the ending with her not shaking Mickey's hand at the end. I feel like they keep pushing this slightly heel aspect of Asuka. I'm just waiting for them to finally pounce on it and actually turn her heel.
Agreed.
Yeah.
I don't think they're going to do that until they're ready to put Ember in the title hunt.
I think that's coming sooner than we think, though.
I
think we're about to talk about the 6-person tag, which we'll get to in a second. But I think they're about to pull that trigger, and I think that I agree with you, Dave. I'm ready for them to pull the trigger, but nonetheless, I kind of like that they're at least showing signs that it's not just one of those abrupt heel turns out of nowhere. And I just think that that's a little different, and so I'll take it for what it is. But if it turns into an alley situation where we're just waiting and waiting and waiting, or if it's like a Emma re-debut thing where we're just waiting and waiting and waiting, then that's a different story. But I think right now I'm okay with it. If Ember Moon is the next person to challenge Asuka, I think it needs to be now, and then they need to pull the trigger. But before we move to the 6-person tag, the one thing I do want to say, and Dave's going to disagree, but I'm really excited she didn't come out to Hardcore Country. Bless. Thank God, because I can't.
I think in WWE's world, that album she made never existed.
Well, we can hope.
And I thought it was cool that she came out to her old WWE music. She came out in her old WWE gear. Maybe that goes along with the theme of she hasn't done anything in the last 6 years. She's been sitting on a shelf with her soundtrack and her gear. It's just all been waiting there on a shelf.
Yeah, I'm glad she didn't do the denim gear that she does on the indies sometime and stuff. So yeah, she definitely gussied herself up a little bit, I guess you could say.
Yeah. I like how after her match she tried to promote a new single and WWE didn't tweet about it, nothing. They completely ignored. They're like, nope.
Nah.
Yeah, nah.
If they don't get a cut of that, they don't want anything to do with it.
They don't want none.
Because Jim Johnson didn't produce it, or CFO $, whatever.
CFO $. I like that.
I'm over it.
Over it. And I guess before we move on, we can talk about a few people that were backstage. I know, well, of course we know now due to spoilers, Nicole Matthews was backstage, Cat Power was backstage, Taylor Wilde was backstage, Casey Spinelli was backstage, not at that show, but she was backstage with WWE within recent times. And
she was at Raw too, because she tweeted pictures from in the crowd, but she was in the crowd. She wasn't exactly.
Yeah, she was backstage at one of the shows earlier. And then Isabel Layhill, I don't know if I'm saying that right, but she was a part of the last tryouts in Orlando. She was backstage at NXT, Survivor Series, and Raw. So clearly,
I got an anonymous
interest.
tip too in my DMs this weekend that Leah Vaughn and Silesia Sparks were spotted in the parking lot all 4 shows
Oh,
in
boy.
Canada this week.
Oh,
So I have no idea what that means, but they're in the parking lot. That's kind of creepy, but okay.
how do people spot people in the parking lot? I don't get that.
I don't know. Maybe they're making it up. I don't know. But at least with Leah Vaughn, she was on NXT earlier, so it makes sense if they're kind of doing their work with her and saying, she's got that edge connection, so.
And the Sarah Stock connection.
Taylor Wilde being backstage is very random for me. Because, she had her run with WWE Developmental back years ago with DSW, or
DSW.
Deep South Wrestling.
Yep.
So now seeing her name crop back up after being completely away from wrestling for so long, I think that's really random. I'm all for it if she decides to come back, because I'm a huge Taylor Wilde fan. But who knows?
I remember back in the day, I don't know what year this was. This was in the mid-2000s, I think, or early 2000s. I remember, I think it was a Raw I went to, and she was in a dark match. She wrestled in a mask.
Oh, yeah, I remember that.
Yeah, that's my. I think that's the only Taylor Wilde match I've ever seen live. But yeah, that was some random thing, and I don't know. I think that was after she was in DSW, so maybe they were playing around, calling her up and putting her in some mask gimmick.
I remember for a while they had her in a mask and she'd wrestle the cruiserweights or something.
Yeah, it's weird, but I don't know what she. I'm just hoping. Hopefully, she doesn't still work at Sunglass Hut.
I think she's a firefighter now.
Oh, God. Next
But
topic.
it's. There's a lot of Canadian talent they can pick from. Nicole Matthews has to be right at the top of the list.
Yeah.
And I feel especially with the women's tournament coming, I think we're going to see a lot more of this, just to increase speculation, if nothing else.
I agree with that.
Definitely.
I don't know if WWE has any say in this, but man, if they can get Silesia's ban in the U.S. lifted somehow, I would donate my entire salary to Vince McMahon or something. I would be
Well,
that's on record now.
Alright, I guess we can move on to the... Did anyone watch the 6-woman tag tonight?
I did.
Alright,
Yeah.
take the floor, because I did not.
I watched it. It was there. So basically, we knew that Liv Morgan, Aaliyah, and Ember Moon had kind of formed this team, and we had Billie Kay and Peyton Royce. They found Daria, and Daria just said she wanted to beat up people, so she would join the team. The match was what it was. I there really wasn't anything that I was like, ooh, that's a real amazing spot. I think there was one kind of Daria move where she did this double leg takedown of Aaliyah, and that looks kind of cool. But basically, the end comes where Billie Kay jumps off the apron, and Daria's on the floor, and she makes Daria get up and tag Peyton Royce in. And Daria's confused, and Billie and Peyton are on the floor just watching. And then Ember hits kind of an eclipse, but it's kind of botched, so it kind of looks weird.
Yeah.
And Ember gets the pin. The one thing I will give is Corey Graves would not give up on selling that eclipse, and he was like, I think this is the sickest eclipse I've ever seen. And the reason why it was sick was because it was botched. So, it was... Kudos to Corey Graves for trying. A+ girl, you tried. But, it was weird. And so the face team kind of stood tall. It was fine. It wasn't anything super exciting, nor will I probably remember that this match happened after this podcast. But I watched it, and it wasn't terrible.
Go ahead.
I agree with that completely. I thought the match was fine. The girls did fine. It was nothing memorable. The two big things that stuck out to me are this match, which is the bulk of their women's division right now, really highlights the weakness in the division.
Mm-hmm.
Because you had, in my opinion, Ember and Billy really were the only two who could carry their opponent in the match. Peyton did okay, but she just wasn't there tonight. So only having two people that can really lead the match makes a 6-person tag struggle. My other thought is the current character that Liv is working is Carmella 2.0 back when she was babyface in NXT.
Ooh, don't call that 2.0.
No.
That is a disgrace to Carmella.
It is
That-
generic
No.
Jersey spunky girl.
It's Dollar Tree.
But Carmella is from Staten Island.
I don't think
It's from New Jersey.
No,
I don't
shit.
think their
can't
gimmicks
tell
are anything similar. I don't.
Get
tell
out,
the difference.
Casey. Have another drink, Casey.
But I don't.
Okay.
I don't, because I feel like Carmella came in as, a hairdresser and everything, and Liv is like pizza eating, tomboy, into rap, all that. Like, I don't see the similarity. I get that they're both like kind of Jersey characters, but I don't see how they're like knockoffs of each other.
They're both doing knockoff accents. They're both doing some kind of moonwalk dance down to the ring. They're both all about, like, repping their hometown, be it Staten Island or Jersey. It's
Which is
exactly
basically
the
the
same thing.
I don't
Like,
think so.
It's, oh my gosh. And it's just like, it's like, oh, we called Carmella up to the main roster, and now we need somebody to fill the void. Go, Liv Morgan, go.
Yes, exactly.
But I feel like
That's
Liv,
what it is.
but Liv had that gimmick when Carmella was there, so.
I know.
Yeah,
and
and she
it was
wasn't
like they
on
were
TV.
twins. They
And
were
she wasn't
twins.
on TV.
I don't know. I don't think their gimmicks are the same. I never did.
Oh, Casey, you need a drink.
No, I never did.
Liv had new gear in this match, which I was not a big fan of.
I wasn't either.
Oh, me either.
The purple is not her color. She needs to stick to like black and white like her other gear.
And her hair was
She tried to like do herself up and look, more, because it was a bigger match for her and a big, it was a big crowd she was wrestling in front of. Probably the biggest one she's ever wrestled in front of. So, it was an important match for that. For this match, though, the cool thing about it was Aaliyah got to have a hometown reception, which was cool. But you know what? When she first came out, she didn't have much of a pop. Then
because nobody knew.
Then they announced she's from Toronto. Then she gets the pop. But
Because,
what?
Aaliyah's been on TV, 3 times?
Yeah. I mean,
It came across really cheap. Like, and that's what it came across as. It didn't come across as like people actually cared about Aaliyah. It came across that people cared about Toronto. And like, which is fine for what it was. It got the cheap pop that it needed, and she was on the face team, so it worked. But like, it really did nothing for her.
Yeah, but I'm sure she probably had fun in the moment.
Good for her. She deserves it.
It's cool. I mean, I've seen, Jasmine and Leah, whatever you want to call her. I've seen her for years now, so it's like, I don't know, like me, she was always buddies with me when I saw her at AIW and stuff. So, she follows me on Twitter, so I gotta, I want to, rep her and stuff. But, it was cool for her. But yeah, I mean, I wish it was under better circumstances, but it was cool. The other thing about this match I thought was, I think the Daria character can be really awesome. They're obviously going to turn her babyface, I would have to think, because of this. So I'm kind of looking. I mean, she needs some work, but I really like the MMA character for a woman because they've never really done that before. So I'm really interested to see how that turns out. And I think it could be pretty cool if they ever get Shayna Baszler in, and even down the road Ronda Rousey even. I think that having like an MMA stable even would be pretty awesome for the women.
Oh my God, they should call it the Four Horsewomen.
Wait a
You're
minute.
all welcome.
Wait a minute.
I always thought Emma should have an MMA gimmick because her name is literally EMMA.
Oh my!
I always thought they could have done a Ronda Rousey with her and had her,
Dave.
Spoiler: Emelina, you're welcome.
But so I think down the road Daria is going to be something pretty good. I think she has a lot of legs in her to her character and stuff. So it's always. I think I could honestly, if they build her up right, her and Asuka could have a pretty good match. I think
so too, definitely.
Because the MMA background would be kind of neat with Asuka's hard striking.
Hopefully, she won't beat Daria in 3 seconds.
Yeah. But, it's cool, I don't know, the match wasn't anything spectacular, but it was the main event of the show, which was cool, so, they got to have their moment, but, the Billy Payne thing, I don't know, I don't know where they're going with that. Is it going to lead to another Asuka match? Is it, I don't know where it's heading.
I feel like it just put Ember over, which was fine, and I think if they now run this, what I would like to see is the next couple of tapings, we see Ember kind of win some matches, put herself in perspective, I'm the one who can beat her, and let's see that match, but they need to pull the trigger. I cannot do another couple of months of filler and nothingness, and then see somebody go against Asuka for no reason.
Agreed.
Cool. So let's move on from NXT and let's go to Dennis's favorite topic, TNA. Please, Dennis.
So, in case if you're curious, TNA is still running even though they have settled their lawsuit with Billy Corgan. How they're paying their bills, I don't know, but I'll keep trying to look how. My guess is Dixie Carter bobbleheads are on the rise.
They have a baby daddy in Canada, pretty much.
They must have something. And I don't know what side business they're doing. I won't speculate. But it's got to be something enough to at least keep the lights on for an hour, not necessarily consecutively, but an hour nonetheless, to kind of put on a show. And so this week, we got an absolute gem of a match. And by gem, I mean, so we got our dear friend and friend of the show, Brandy Rhodes.
Wait, while we talk about Brandy Rhodes, did you all see her tattoo?
Oh, God.
No.
Okay, let me tweet it out for you.
Oh, I'm nervy.
Okay, guys, check my Twitter. It should be up now. I just want to get everyone's impressions of this beautiful masterpiece.
Oh, no. What is the point of those screws?
I don't know, but I
Is
just...
she Wolverine?
Yeah, that looks like she needs to go to a doctor.
I wonder who supposedly ripped her open.
The
It
fans?
looks like somebody, punched her arm a couple of times and then they tattooed over it.
That was the highlight of my day. I woke up to a DM of that picture.
Maybe she was trying to throw a forearm. I don't know.
There we go.
So,
Okay, continue, Dennis.
which we'll get to her trying to throw a forearm because in the match we had Brandy Rhodes, who was going to go against Laurel Van Ness and Sienna, who have trained, and they had this match, and they said, Brandy Rhodes, you need to find a partner, and they thought that it was going to be Allie, and so Allie was still kind of getting put over. The crowd is so into Allie, and even though the Allie part of this segment was maybe a grand total of 12 seconds, she still got the best pop out of anything that happened there.
Yep.
And so Nonetheless, Maria sends Allie to the back and then tries to say, Brandy, who's your partner? And Brandy puts over Madison Rayne. And Madison Rayne comes down to be Brandy Rose's partner, which makes total sense because we all know that Brandy's still working on how to take a bump. So somebody had to be able to take the bumps during the match, and it totally made sense that Madison Rayne could handle that.
And Madison Rayne is literally like the only other babyface on the roster. So
accurate, because as we know, Jade and Rosemary are doing their thing, which we will get to that in a minute. So nonetheless, we get this wonderful tag team match that happens, and it's a thing. And let me tell you, the match is good for the first 5 minutes because Brandy Rhodes isn't there, and she's standing on the apron where she should be. And Madison Rayne is getting worked over by Laurel and Sienna, which then makes me realize, oh shit, Brandy's about to get the hot tag. And I just knew that it was going to end so well. And so there is a 1-minute video that somebody who follows me had sent to me. And so I'm going to be honest, I watched that 1 minute before I watched this match. So I knew what was about to come. Poor Sienna. If you're listening, I love you. You are so great, and you tried so damn hard. And I could tell you tried so damn hard. But Brandy Rhodes tries to throw some forearms. And when I say try, I mean she really tried, but it just didn't happen. And so then my favorite part is she goes against the ropes, which she almost like misses running against the ropes, then comes back and goes for this clothesline. And I'm going to assume it was a clothesline. Like, I'm going to give her the benefit of the doubt that it was a clothesline. I'm not really sure, and I could be wrong. Nonetheless, like, it's just really badly botched, like, to the point that no camera angle was going to save that. And then there was some more running and some really bad selling from one of the two. I'll let you guess who. And the end comes when Brandy Rhodes goes for this over-dramatic reverse STO-esque kind of move. I don't really know what to call it. I kind of wish she would have used the clusterfuck shuffle instead. It happened, and Brandy Rhodes has a pinfall victory over Sienna, which I don't even think I need to say anything to. We can just let that set in for a minute to realize what I just said. Brandy Rhodes has a pinfall victory over Sienna.
Yeah.
On that note, I'm out, TNA. I'm done. I can't. I have no words for you. Bring me Rosemary and Jade because I'm very done with Brandy Rhodes and I need it to not be a thing. And so, does anybody want to comment on that before we get to Jade and Rosemary?
I actually got to watch this live when the show was airing. And I didn't remember, I didn't remember or I didn't read the spoilers, so I had no idea what the outcome of that match was going to be. And when I saw Sienna get pinned, I literally wanted to throw my entire computer out the window because
you had to watch it on your computer because Pop TV.
Well, I mean, I watch on TV, but whatever. The computer's bigger, so fuck that. Is all I got to say.
Like, I just can't. And I want to know where the hell this is going, TNA, because if you're about to legitimately put her in some kind of fucking title run, I'm done. Like, I can't even dignify it as a joke. Like, literally, I'm sitting here and I just want to know where this is supposed to go, because if I'm about to watch Brandy Rhodes versus Maria again, we know that Gail Kim was injured during her match with Maria. So I wonder what'll happen when those two go in the ring.
Like, if Brandy Rhodes beating Maria, like, I wouldn't have a problem with that, because whatever. But, I mean, Sienna's, like, a legit wrestler and a very good wrestler, and she's better than getting pinned by Brandy Rhodes.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And
I
will say, like, Sienna tried so damn hard in that match, and literally, Sienna MVP. Like, you really tried, and you really tried to make Brandy look as threatening as you could. And, like, literally, Sienna did her job, and she did her job well, at least as well as she could. She was not the problem.
Assuming she got paid for that, I hope they paid her extra.
Oh my god, I hope she gets a paycheck. No, Dave, let's just start with a paycheck. I hope she asked for cash.
I have to give co-MVPs. One, to Madison Rain for working the first half of the match completely on her own.
The first 3/4 of the match.
Yeah, knowing that whenever she tagged out, the match was
done
in the toilet. And then to Sienna, like everyone has said, for doing her absolute dead level best to make Brandy not look completely inept in the ring. And the commentary team just kept talking about how, Brandy's so inexperienced and she's in the ring every day training and she does all this and all that. And then to get the pin over Sienna, I would have rather her got the pin over Laurel just because I prefer Sienna over Laurel. But kudos to Sienna for being willing to take that pinfall.
You know what's really scary about TNA? If you only watch TNA and nothing else, in your mind, Brandy Rhodes and Allie are on the same level.
Yes. Brandy was probably better than Allie if you were only exposed to TNA.
Yeah, because Brandy's won more matches.
Yeah, and Allie has no wrestling training at all.
Well, neither does Brandy.
She is training every day, and she deserves respect, Casey.
Yeah, okay.
She's in the ring every day, and she's a Rhodes.
She deserves some respect.
Like, I'm going to be honest, and you know what? I wasn't going to say this on the air, but I'm going to anyway, because it's 1:40 in the morning, and I can. On the script, I literally just wrote, fuck TNA, and that's where I'm at. I said it.
No. You said Brandy fucking wins. Pin Sienna with some whack-ass move. Fuck
That's
TNA.
also true. That's also fair.
And a period after every word, too, which makes it even better.
Which really, I wanted to use the clapping emoji after each word. Like, I'm clapping on every syllable because I'm so pissed that that's a thing.
How long till Brandy wins the title?
Oh, God. Well, you know what? Which that's good transition, because let's move to one thing that is kind of working in the Knockouts division, which is the Knockouts title, because we've now found that Gail Kim is vacating the title, and we are now at the point where we will be having a match between two people who can wrestle, who can train, who can hit a clothesline, who can hit a forearm, who can run the ropes, who can hit a basic submission, and that is Jade and Rosemary, which will be great and something worth watching on TNA.
And I think it'll be in the steel cage match.
They announced. Yeah.
Just found that out officially. Spoiler alert! I already knew, but that's because I read spoilers to see how much do I need to drink before I watch it.
I believe that's not on the next episode, but the one after that.
The one after, you're correct.
Yeah.
But nonetheless, we got some build to this, which is really exciting. Basically, Jade says she's looking for Rosemary. She runs into Crazy Steve and Abyss, who are the Decay partners of Rosemary, and they tell her to go up to the Raptors to find her.
Because she's Sting.
She's Sting.
She's Sting.
Yeah. And so, nonetheless, they have this promo there. Rosemary refers to Jade as Gail's little chosen one, which I thought was really kind of funny. I just thought that was good.
And they calls her Blue.
calls her Blue.
It's red versus blue, yeah.
Red versus blue. And nonetheless, they agree that they will be the two competing for the now vacated Knockouts title. And Jade says that she's not afraid, and that she says that the match should be a steel cage match, and that it will be in 2 weeks. Let's be real, that has the potential to be something amazing. I already know what the result is going to be, but I'll be kind and not spoil, because this is something that you actually should watch. this has the potential to be good, and I am just praying that they get the time, and I am praying that they can just show what they can do, because we all know what Rosemary and Jade are capable of, which also known as Courtney Rush and Mia Yim. Like, those two can put on a match, and those two can make TNA something worth watching, and so I'm very excited to be able to see that, and then I will actually give TNA a legitimate report on this podcast.
As a fan of indie wrestling, this is the type of match that I look forward to on TV. Because these are two girls that we know can work. But just in a random match, we know that they can work well. And then you put them in a match in a steel cage. And I just hope that they're given time and given the freedom to go and do what they do. Because it really, really should be gold.
I love the build-up, too. The whole thing with them talking to each other in, like, this, you know, like, above the arena kind of setting. And the whole, like, lesbian overtones, I don't know. It was like something straight out of fan fiction, you know? But I find it just really interesting and just, you know, it's just, compared to the Brandy Rhodes stuff, it's just so night and day better, you know? And yeah, I mean, they do a great job, whether it's on social media or on the TV show itself, of building it, and just there's this really cool connection they have with each other. And yeah, it's gonna be awesome. It's, you know, assuming, you know, it gets time. I have a feeling I'm gonna really enjoy that title match.
Definitely.
For sure. So there is something to look forward to on TNA. We just have to wait and make it through more Brandy Rhodes.
Oh boy.
Here's to hoping.
Here's to drinking every time TNA's on.
Dude, but for real.
Cool. So let's move on. Let's move on, please. Let's move on to what we saw on Monday Night Raw. We had Sasha and Charlotte and the Nia Jax segment. Sasha and Bayley defeating Charlotte and Nia and Emma become Emelina ... soon, hopefully, maybe.
Which, I want to be clear, is a copy and paste from last week's podcast of
and
Emma becomes Emelina ... soon, and I have a feeling it will continue to be a copy and paste on this script.
Definitely. Raw was...
it was Raw.
It's so hard to talk about.
I'll start, because I don't think it's hard to talk about.
It's the same thing every week.
No, and this is where I'm going to disagree with you. I think this is the first week that we're getting at least something different. And
because
when I say something, it's because Nia was there. And I'll take it. Because, again, this comes down to the overarching issue of I have a problem with two rosters of 6 girls on each. Which that is a different argument in and of itself. But knowing that that is the reality we are unfortunately in, and until they get rid of the Cruiserweight show and make it a women's show, then this is where we're at. And at the end of the day, I will take this because at least now we're starting to build towards a second undercard kind of feud. So in this segment, we know that Sasha's going to go against Charlotte. Next week for the Women's Championship, Nia is coming down and says she's not there for Charlotte, she's there for Sasha, for kind of a whack-ass reason of you weren't dominant, even though she tapped out to an armbar. I just wanted Sasha to be like, didn't you tap in 2 seconds? But she didn't. But nonetheless, what this builds to me is that come next week, I see Nia Jax interfering, and we now get Sasha versus Nia, which is different. And we all sat here and said we want at least something a little different on Raw, and I don't know what else you can expect on a roster of 6 people. If Summer Rae's still injured, Paige is still with Alberto Del Rio opening a Mexican restaurant, and, Dana Brooke is still looking for a Beth Phoenix move to copy. We ultimately have only so many options, and this is at least different. So I don't know what the hell y'all want, but nonetheless, I'll take it. And this is where the tag match makes sense. Raw to me this week for the women made sense, and I'll take it.
I just want Emelina.
I thought the best part of the whole in-ring promo was when Nia called Sasha an overrated purple-headed Barbie doll. I literally laughed out loud. I thought that was so funny because I completely agree with part of that. I mean, I don't think she's necessarily way overrated, but the purple-headed Barbie doll was spot on.
It was good. I was surprised at how good Nia was on the mic, actually.
Me too.
She's not like most girls.
You better tell him, Dave.
Good one, Dave.
And here's
I think she was just happy not wearing that shirt, I think.
Yeah, who would be?
And here's my thing. This is more different than SmackDown is, and I'm taking that too. So, again, my argument is still we need to get all of these girls on one roster and actually start mixing some things up. But until that happens, Raw was good this week, and I don't care what you have to say because we're all entitled to our wrong opinions.
Oh.
I go there. Heel Dennis for the win.
I feel like that was a shot at me.
It was a shot at you, Casey.
Okay, someone's gonna mute Dennis's mic.
Rude.
Just kidding. Yeah. What did everyone think of the match?
I mean, it happened. I
Yeah.
didn't think it was anything special.
It's a TV match.
Yep.
Basically. I hate when they start matches during commercial breaks.
Yeah.
Oh, it's a
It just
pet peeve.
was what it was again. This is one of those that, like, it was something slightly different because at least Dana Brooke wasn't on the apron.
That's what I was going to say.
And so it's at least something a little different. I mean, again, there's only two faces right now. Well, I mean, I guess Alicia, but let's be real. Alicia is the Naomi of Raw. And so we're not going to see her for a while. And so on that note, like, it was what it was. It's expected. But nonetheless, still different, and I'll take it, and I hope this leads me to Nia versus Sasha, because I think that could be a good feud that could actually put Nia over as a monster, because in all honesty, I'm a little disappointed in Nia Jax in the sense of I feel that her moveset isn't monsterish enough. I feel like it's a lot of the same thing, and I feel that it's a lot of push-shove, squash and corner.
I feel like she's very slow in the ring. Like, unbelievably slow.
And so I just want to see more out of Nia Jax. Again, I will further make this argument that I think that we just called up too many people from NXT at once, because I still stand by the fact, actually, I will amend this statement that I think Alexa Bliss was a good call-up. I will officially make that statement. But I think Carmella and Nia should have stayed in NXT a little longer, even though I would prefer Alexa Bliss to as well, because it's just I don't think they were ready, and this is just where we're at, and it's unfortunate. And until we get some roster shakeups, or they just realize that the women's division needs to be on one show, then this is what we're going to see for the foreseeable future, and that's for both shows.
I agree.
You know what I want to see? I think this would make a perfect tag team. I want to see Sami Zayn and Sasha versus Braun Strowman and Nia Jax. because Sami and Sasha like to get injured a lot. They like to get beat up a lot. And then you got the two monsters of Raw. I think that would be a great tag team.
That would be something.
I want Nia and Braun to interact somehow. Have them fall in love or something. I don't know. But I want that to happen. I want that interaction so bad.
Oh, man.
Or Braun say he wants more competition and then Nia walks out. Something like that, you know?
Yeah.
That would be great. I killed the show.
Casey just fell asleep. Wake up, Casey.
He didn't fall asleep. He went to the bathroom for a second. But anyway.
Yeah, but that's really funny that Casey still said nothing. So let's move on.
Are we on SmackDown?
Yeah.
Cool. Yeah, let's talk about SmackDown now. We had Becky taking on Natalya, Alexa versus Becky announced for TLC, and the backstage segment with Nikki and Carmella and the no DQ at TLC. What are our feelings on that? Whoever wants to start.
Is wrong.
Yeah, I thought the match was okay. Becky versus Natalya, they're two solid workers, but there was nothing super special about the match. Again, Alexa attacked Becky after the match, which that seems to be a recurring theme. So it's a lot of the same. It happened.
Yeah, I'm kind of in the same boat with you. I feel like it was just a match. Nothing really to write home about.
I just like the Celine Dion quote. That's the real reason that I'm here, because Natalia's heart will fucking go on, and so will these music quotes.
And so will the Alexa Bliss freaking reactions.
Which is the only good part to come out of it.
And I thought Alexa Bliss was good on commentary during the match, too.
Yeah.
David Otunga's like, why should you get a rematch? And you're like, you idiot, did you not see my hand, my foot on the rope? And I don't know, I thought she had good witty comebacks for all the stuff on commentary, so I thought that was good.
She was so good, I laughed so hard when she was going after Otunga. So funny.
Alexa is a great talker.
Shit.
She's very charismatic. She needs to be in promos or on commentary or something every single week.
She needs a title run. I'm going to be real here. That is the thing for me that will put Alexa Bliss over, is you need to validate her as a genuine threat. And honestly, Becky can take a loss. She really can. And you put the belt on Alexa Bliss at TLC. That puts Alexa Bliss over because she has the promo work. I know we all kind of had this conversation in our Facebook chat. I genuinely think Alexa Bliss was the star of the Survivor Series match for the SmackDown side. She has really taken this ball and run with it. And to me, in order to validate her, in order to really put her over, we need to put the belt on her. And I think that would really put her over, and I think she'd be great with it. She's really taken this ball and run.
I definitely agree. I want her to be the champion.
I want her to be too. The only thing is, this is the first SmackDown Women's title. Becky hasn't really, because she got injured for a while, she hasn't really done anything with it. I think the match against Alexis was one of her only defenses of the title so far. So it'd be kind of cutting that first reign short. But yeah, man, I want Alexa with the title. I want her to have all this success because she's awesome and she's always a standout on all the SmackDowns, and just the promos of her being champion would be great. And I could see it leading to maybe a rematch with Becky, and then maybe move on to Natalya or Nikki Bella maybe at some point. That would be a good feud. But yeah, I want her to have the title too.
Right. So what do we think about Carmella versus Nikki Bella, no DQ at TLC?
Nikki is going to get injured again.
I honestly think, like Dennis said earlier, that they're making it a no DQ so the person that did attack her can come out and attack her and align with Carmella.
I agree. Yeah. That's the way it should be done, at least.
Yeah, I agree.
And I think this... Carmella has to win this match, right? If Nikki Bella wins, why are we here? What does it give us outside of Carmella saying that Nikki Bella is just there because she's with John Cena?
Nothing. I do think Carmella needs to win, definitely.
She absolutely needs to win here. And if she doesn't, then let me give you my shovel to bury Carmella further in the SmackDown roster, because clearly you need it even more.
And I think once she does win, this feud needs to be put to bed.
Yes.
Let's move on.
The one thing I'll say is Nikki Bella hasn't been very dominant since coming back, so she's been willing to put over people and not really be the focal point of the division. So, I'll give her credit for that, but yeah, she doesn't need to win. I don't think Nikki Bella loses anything by losing. I think she'll always be that popular, because she's the Bella, she's got the reality shows and the John Cena connection and all that, so.
And a YouTube channel now.
Oh, yeah. She's a whole Bella enterprise. But Maybe she was attacked by her pregnant sister. Maybe.
I hope.
Or Daniel Bryan.
Oh, that'd be good too.
That'd be fun.
Or Maurice getting revenge.
Nonetheless, I just hope, much like Raw, that we just keep getting some small tweaks with all 6 girls on the roster that they have to choose from, because much like Raw, that's my issue, and I just still don't feel that SmackDown has the star power, but I think Alexa Bliss is getting there, and Alexa Bliss may be the reason that I start watching SmackDown.
Actually, what you just said there just made a lot of sense. If it's Maurice, that makes total sense. Because the whole Total Divas stuff the last few weeks has been talking about that whole thing. And Maurice, she could probably wrestle.
Oh, that'd be great. I'm so pro Maurice. I want to see some more hair flips in that ring. Let's go.
Let's do it.
That would actually be a really interesting story. I think that's almost too interesting for WWE to even consider, but that would be a great story.
You know who actually attacked her? It all just came to me. Maria. She's gonna return.
Oh my god.
Kidding.
So
Next, Dennis. Alright, well, we're done talking about this week in wrestling, and we'll go ahead and announce that we are doing the Squared Circle Siren Awards this year. And on December 1st, we will have a post up on the website. We will be doing not only our awards, we will be doing a viewer's choice, people's choice type of awards, and we'll have the same categories as we're going to choose from as a staff, and we just want to get to see who the voters want to see as the winners of the awards.
Why don't you read to us some of the categories?
Alright, we have WWE Woman of the Year, TNA Knockout of the Year, NXT Woman of the Year, the U.S. Independent Woman of the Year, the Best of the World Independent Woman of the Year, Breakout Woman of the Year, Ones to Watch in 2017, Televised Match of the Year, Promotion of the Year, Most Underrated on TV, and Most Underrated on the Independent Scene. So we have a lot of awards, and we're super excited to do this year, because last year I tried to, and it didn't really go well, but we're more than well prepared this year.
And how many categories will Brandy Rhodes come away with this year?
All of them.
Spoiler. Yeah.
No,
Brandy Rhodes for Promotion of the Year.
I think we have 11 or 12 categories, so I think she's going to win 13.
Yes.
Because she's a Rhodes and she deserves respect.
Exactly.
Yeah, she deserves a category that hasn't even been decided yet.
Most respected.
Exactly.
Brandy Rhodes.
Brandy, if you have
There's
not
number 13.
turned this podcast off already, DM us your address for the award. No, but...
No, but this will be really
Yeah.
fun. I'm really excited.
Yeah, it definitely will be.
And we were talking about this. I think the most hotly contested of all these categories is going to be the U.S. Independent Woman of the Year. Because, man, you can list a dozen girls and have a good case for every one of them.
Exactly.
And still not scratch the surface of the women that should be in the list.
Right,
Yeah,
there's so
and
many talented girls.
We've all been kind of talking and throwing out names in a lot of these categories, and we're working really hard to try to narrow it down to 5 in each category, and I think that's going to be the toughest part of this, is trying to pick just 5 in each, because there's just been a lot of stuff, and especially, we're all really big independent women fans, and so we really value those categories too, and so I think it's going to be really interesting to just even see who the nominees end up being.
Definitely, it's definitely an exciting time, and it's fun to do awards. Like, I'm excited. I'm super excited.
Because it's positivity. It's all positive
Yes.
stuff about people who've done, good stuff all year. So, it's instead of complaining about what's on TV and this and that, it's who's doing good. So, you can't help but want to, talk about that kind of stuff.
Exactly. It's always good to be positive, especially with
No,
all of
we're
us.
not.
No, we're not. it's good to do this every so often, you know?
I feel like there's only one category that we're going to struggle being positive with, but I'll let y'all guess at home which one that's going to be. And I'll tell you who's not going to make that list.
Brandy Rhodes is going to win TNA Knockout of the Year.
I quit. And so, but I think it'll be really exciting. I'm also just really interested to see what you guys listening and those that come to the site vote for versus what we as a group come to. I think I'm always interested to just see that variance of opinion. So
I agree.
Just know you're all entitled to your wrong opinion. That is the takeaway from this podcast.
We're gonna make a shirt with that quote on it, so all our viewers
I
can
stole it from
order.
Dance Moms, so watch out.
Oh boy,
it's real.
We'll put Brandy Rhodes' picture next to it or something. So no worries, no worries. And I think that brings us to the end of our podcast.
I think, we have reached the end of everything for tonight. You're listening to Siren Sound Off. Visit us at www.squarecirclesirens.com. My name is Jason. You can friend me on Facebook at JAY_COMU. Casey.
You can find me on Twitter at BadBoyCasey.
Dennis.
You can find me on Twitter at TheBrandyRhodes or at Dennis_SCS. I suggest the second one, not the first.
Scott.
I'm on Twitter at ScottJ789.
And Dave.
At Dave Muscarella. And soon to be a tattoo on Brandy Rhodes, I hope.
Oh boy, we can all hope.
Cool. And we just want to wish everyone a happy Thanksgiving for tomorrow and...
Well, today.
Well, today, it's 2 in the morning. Oh, God. Well, hour tomorrow when we wake up. And thank you, for supporting us. And we're excited to do the awards and, keep in touch and let us know what you guys think. And
yeah, and if you
it's
guys...
going to be an exciting season.
Yeah, and if you guys have anything you want to tell us on Twitter, interact with us. We love interacting with our viewers of the site. And
on that
all